Thank you. Thanks, Chris, for that rather long litany of the stuff I do, but for that generous introduction. Chris is a good friend, and we've known each other for a number of years, and it's always good to hang out with Chris. Separate apart from his brilliance as a writer, he's a good man and a good friend. This is a tremendous honor for me, and I'm very pleased to be able to do this. I thank the Lannan family and for all those who've helped to make this happen. And I thank you for coming out and for being a part of this. My plan is that we will enjoy ourselves today, tonight. And if you don't, that's really too bad, because I certainly plan to enjoy myself. So, life. The other thing I'll say is I can barely see you, which is helpful to me because I'm going to presume that you're all elated and riveted by my brilliance. And if you're not, again, too bad. I really, that's life. So I'm going to read some work for you, and hopefully you'll come on this journey with me. It's a great song by Bob Marley that is sometimes a refrain that keeps coming to me. It's a song about history. And it's a song about roots. And it simply goes, roots, natty roots, dread, bingy, dread, 'cause I are the roots. Got to survive in this man-made downpression. Got to survive in iration. Roots natty, dread bingy. I are the roots. I are the roots. What are these? So withered and wild in their attire. Streetcar catch a fire, passengers glowing like coals, and who are these come wailing this way like zombies, arms stretched out, skin melting from their bones? These are my enemies with worms in their eyes.
Wow. That's amazing. That was really, really something.
Thanks.
So like I just realized that every time I hang out with you, there's so much code switching linguistically that I forget sometimes. And so during the introduction, I kept saying jealous, jealous. And I thought, wait a minute. In America, that means something completely different.
That's right.
Because in West Africa, to say you're jealous is to say you're in awe.
That's right.
Because, only God can have awe. So like, where I come from, it's a big honor. I know you know this. I just wanted the audience to, to realize that we weren't frenemies.
No, that's not, there's enough of that out there. We don't need that.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, nice work, man.
Thank you.
As they say back home, calling down fire.
Fire.
Wheel and come again.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're going to have a conversation. It's a real honor, I don't know. I remember when I gave you a manuscript of poems that were really, really bad. My first manuscript, and Kwame read through them, and so he said to me, so what is the guiding aesthetic here? And I said, the African griot. And he said to me, boy, I'm so tired of people blaming bad poetry on African griots. So it's nice to be able to talk to you about this. Now, I'm wondering where to begin. I don't get paid by Apple, but I also have an iPad. But,
there you go.
But I guess since we just talked about this idea of code switching, I want to ask you about the idea of shape-shifting. Because in many ways, you straddle multiple genres, multiple identities, multiple passports even possibly, multiple homes, and so forth. But there is a unique vision you bring that seems to infuse all this with a rare transformational power. And I know you talked a lot about the Fisheries Commission. But, Kwame is the only one I know who can take money from a funding body to study salmon and write a book about masculinity. And so there's this way in which in which the salmon became this powerful ideas. So I was wondering, is this easy for you, this straddling, these ideas of travel, and how do you navigate not only the straddling, linguistically and otherwise, but also this idea of belonging? Do you belong anywhere? Yeah,
it's a real, clearly that's the question at the core of, I think, most of what I write, because I'm writing, I think, about a lyric about home and the idea of defining home. And there's a sense in which the circumstances of my life, and Chris's life is not unlike that, is that we are both people who are always from somewhere else, but always from where we are. This is a real odd contradiction. When I was in Ghana, I was born in Ghana. My father was Jamaican and my mother is Ghanaian. When I was born in Ghana, I was a Ghanaian, but my father always told stories about Jamaica. And he would always end his elaborate tales about Jamaica with the caveat, he said, so we're going home soon. We're going to go home soon. And so built into my whole psyche was the idea that while I was in Ghana, where my grandmother and grandfather, and my oodles of cousins were, I still had a sense that there was another place that was being called home that I was going to return to. So I'm both here and outside of here. When I moved to England, we were in transition. So we were from Ghana, we were going to Jamaica. So there's always that sense of being in and out, and yet trying to find rooting and identity there. When I got to Jamaica, I got home. Well, turns out there was a little more hype in my father's telling than we were expecting, donkey rides and, acres and acres of farmland. We landed in Kingston. Not quite the same thing. But even in Jamaica, which was in a sense home, I was a foreigner. I was coming from Africa. And so home was Africa, and yet home was Jamaica. This has been a perpetual condition, but the characteristic that I think is most important and relevant to the writing is that I've committed myself to find home wherever I am. In other words, to find a place of rooting through an engagement with the space that I enter into.